Yenge Keno, Yenge family, Makanda, Mbote Sam Dumalang, away in the Luciemi. Greetings to all of you who are part of this channel. I welcome you who have joined. I'll try to get my comments added soon. Excuse me. I honor all of you today, this time, who are continuing to do the Most High's work. I hope that Tata nZambi is keeping and guiding you in this time. This is a very important message because, as you can see, we are now into the next phase of things. Sadly, the rest of the world is clueless, but those who are in the awakening, we know what's going on. I welcome all of you non-Bantus to this channel as well. Today's topic that I'm going to be discussing, that many people have always been wondering, if Tata nZambi's people were so great, how did we fall? Okay. If the Bana Kongo were so powerful, what was done to stop us, and what's happening now that keeps us from Kintwadi? You know, I talked about this in a devotional that I did today, that it's hard to build a house when people are going the opposite direction. So if you're putting up a brick and then somebody comes down later and tears it down, how long do you think it's going to take you to build that house? It's going to take a long time. Okay. And I'm going to get into that because, see, this is what people don't understand, and it's part of the whole concept of what they have done to keep the enemy against them. And I'm going to go into the scriptures about that. In the book of Romans 9:13, and Malachi chapter 1. Okay, before I get started, Kembo de Tata nZambi pungu tugando manakumbase mwana nZolele mseto sakupanzo nzinga Kembo Tata nZambi pungu tugando mawa de kolere from his zonas against the Father. Matonya Masakijla for this day, Tata nZambi pungu. Come humbly once before you once again, to remain daily of the 12 kingdom of nZolele, Yahweh, and the sub-tribe as well, Father. We come humbly before you once again, your throne, asking for revelation and guidance in this message to help our people recognize the times that we are in, to prepare accordingly, and to do the righteous things and not the wicked, and to try to fight the fight against the flesh and more on the spirit that we all need to do more of. Give us the time to continue that we don't die before our time, Father, or as the enemy wishes to do so, and help us to do the things we need to do in this next phase. Mwana kumbase, mwana mwana zansetu, na kumya Tata yabe Kongo bene yabe Kongo Tata nZambi. We give honor to Kuswa Kongo, the Bana Betu Ba, the Mona Imperi, Yenge Keno, Pema Kalunga, Yenge Keno, Salaki Keno, my zonos against the Pema Kalunga and all any other those who are watching. Salaki Keno to the Maliki Makongo, Aslama Maliki Kongo. All Kemba and Gola Tata nZambi, Bayeti. To the righteous of the righteous judges of nZolele, all the way down to Adama, Yokon, Mama, Tata, and Mama, and help continue to watch over us in this time. All right, we're going to get into the song. Once again, I don't have copyrights to it. I'm not here for distribution of any kind. This is just for edification of our people. I'm going to discuss some things here that will kind of put people's minds at ease about these coming days. I know many other people may be talking about certain things. It's kind of what I was anticipating already. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, I had anticipated that World War III would begin already. We are there. It's because of the way that the system is runs different now on how World War III can start. That not everything is the way it was supposed to be. And it's a different type of concept that they're doing. And this is about now preparing for the next phase that they're trying to do. As I said, they're going to do that all Left Behind stuff. World War III was part of their Left Behind series. In addition to how they talked about the so-called rapture of the church. The evangelicals and many people who talk about this, like the Baptists and all that, they forget that if you're going to include the rapture of the church, that would have to also include the Catholics, okay, because that's the church. Now it's one church, and we who know the Catholic Church is doing a lot of stuff to deceive people for generations. Those who want to continue to believe that they represent the Most High, you're entitled to do so. But it's very clear that they are Revelation 13 and 17, hence the reason why the council like Laodicea did not want to put the book of Revelations in there, and they took out the other book of Revelations for that reason. But there's more. It's actually your Honor's book is bigger than what they have. That's just written down. There's more. That's why stuff is happening that people don't know, because a lot of those chapters and verses got shortened so that you wouldn't understand what was happening was connected to all the details of what would happen. They changed that. But anyway, let's get into the song and we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about where we are and the next phases that to come, that the Most High willing, you'll start to see unfold. And yeah, it's going to get crazy. So. I'm gonna try to get this done before they get here, because praise. Yes, it been. Baton Manar. Putting on to lady. I'm gonna see if you can translate this song all the way through. Campbell. All right, all right. How did Bana Betu, the Ba Kongo people, the nZambi, the Negroes, the niggers, the two NIGE negas, the kings and queens become the dogs? How does the world not know what's going on? And why is it that, to tell the truth, I was listening to a video. I want you to listen to what this guy says. It was on my Facebook. And this is exactly what I was talking about, that people don't understand. Let me see if I can play it. There's another guy talking. If you tell the truth, you're gonna run family. If you tell the truth, you're gonna job. If you tell the truth, people think you're a bad guy. Truth is the problem. I think you can hear it. Truth. See, that's the whole concept of what's going on right now. You tell the truth, you're gonna ruffle feathers. You tell the truth, you're gonna lose your job. You tell the truth, you're gonna think you're the bad guy. Okay, why is that? Because the people were never taught the truth from the beginning. Okay, that's the part. That's the biggest problem. When we go to, I'm gonna take you to where it says, we know the scripture very well. Go to Ecclesiastes 1:9. Get up there. The thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done, that will be shall be done, and there is nothing new under the sun. Okay. What we're experiencing right now is the days of Noah, the days of Noah, the end. Okay. When Tata nZambi had Noah building the ark, the intent was, there was a lot of misconceptions going on about the world, because the fallen angels had once again brought much delusion about reality, the world, and everything about it, and had people believing in a different mindset than what the Creator had. So, of course, to do that, you have to manipulate what you think you know. And then also fake people out with things that don't even make any sense. So, essentially, to get people, you have to understand, to get people to fight one another, you have to have a cause, right? To get people to fight one another, you have to have a means for the reason. So, the whole reality of warfare is if you create the need, then people will then respond. Okay. Now, when it comes to the Bakongo people, the Bantu people, it goes back to what it says in Second Kings. Therefore, thus says Tata nZambi, the Mfumo of nZolele, behold, I'm bringing such a calamity against Salama and Yaounde that whoever hears it both has ears will tingle. So the world doesn't understand that we're heading into Obadiah 118, okay? Tata nZambi is always the one who has brought the judgment against his own children first. And you have to ask yourself, now, how does he do, what happens? So how does Isaela always get into this problem? How does Bantu people, how did Bakongo people always find ourselves in this predicament with the Most High? Is the need of the enemy to infiltrate. Okay? Doubt. The kingdom of Congo fell because of doubt. Okay, let's go back to the garden. What was the fall of man? Doubt. What was the biggest thing with Toma and Kusa Congo? Doubt. Why do you doubt? Okay? Whenever the Most High's people doubt what he does as a nation, this is what leads to the demise. And the enemy understands that this is the concept that needed to take place when they showed up in the Congo. And of course, the best way to do that is to use your own, which is why they were doing what they did to condition people to question. Now, even with what happened with the Islamic slave trade and all the stuff that happened there was already doubt starting to form as to whose God was the most powerful and why were people questioning that. Because Tata nZambi had revealed to his people the way through the Maliki Congo, how he wanted things to be done. We had powerful kings and queens set up, the Moni Congo, the Gungan Zombies, all of this stuff that happened. But the way the enemy works is to convince disharmony by lack of unity. It's always been the weakness of Bantu people, the Bakongo, the nZambi, through the devil's lying signs and wonders, and also because, like I said, Tata nZambi tests his loyalty of the people who really love him. Okay? To understand how we fell, we're going to look at the list of military strategies that would have been incorporated through the Catholic Church, because they were a militaristic mindset. When you talk about Rome and all the things that they did, the strategy of war hasn't changed. It's just the technology involved. And actually, there was certain technology that still existed back then. They try to hide that. There were advanced things going on before. They just don't tell you, okay? Nothing is new under the sun. You think that you have something new. It existed in the olden days. They just don't tell you that, okay? So the first thing that was imperative for them to bring down the Bantu people, who were the most powerful people that they could tell on the earth, was to question the reality that they lived in. How do you do that? Satan's lying signs and wonders. Okay, this is something that had always, they had done this before. So it wasn't like it was new. When Kuswa Kongo was there, you know, he talked about, hey, you don't realize how things really go with the Most High's way. You are too carnal and not spiritual. Okay. What that does is allows the lying signs and wonders to deceive you when you don't understand. Okay. Rome actually used this tactic when we were there some thousands of years ago, and they continue to modify it as they move forward. But see, the plot at the time of many people weren't aware of was the intent of the future, because there are many of those even in the other side. Like I told you, the Egyptian sorcerers had foresight. There were prophecies in many people's places about future events that would come. People don't understand that. Okay. The intent was for the Most High to make sure that everything was already in place for the future anyway. And he did that. What you don't understand is this has been a game of strategy for generations. You just catching up to the reality because we had no knowledge. Okay. In order to destroy a people, as was done in the colonial system, as you recall, you first have to infiltrate, especially with us. By using Satan's lying signs and wonders, or we have like powers, we have, because remember, they knew from antiquity, the Most High, when they battled Tata nZambi, hey, yeah, the two sorcerers, one threw down the thing, the other one threw his down. They matched power for power. Okay. By doing so, it lowers your guard, right? And it causes people to start to question, well, wait a minute, who are these people? Okay, where did they come from? They look like poor people. They look like they got issues going on. But at the same time, the enemy knows to lower your guard allows the ability to infiltrate. Okay. To convince you that our way might be better than yours. And see, that was the whole concept, is rather than them realizing they needed us, they convinced us we needed them. Okay. So by doing so, this is called I can't remember. It's called coercion. Coercion. Compelling the enemy to involuntarily behave in a certain way by targeting the leadership, national communications, or political economic centers. Okay. This is an offensive strategy that was used by the Roman Empire to come to the Kingdom of Congo and other places, okay, by convincing us that their way was better than ours and using sorcery to do it. Because, see, a lot of people don't understand, and the Europeans don't understand, that they've been hidden from this fact that witchcraft and sorcery has always been a part of their entire environment. They've just been made to think otherwise. Okay, and they've hid many things. You have what they call counter value, the opposite of counterforce, targeting of an enemy cities and civilian populations used to distract the enemy. Okay. When you look at some of these concepts you see, now, of course, they didn't have air supremacy. Well, air supremacy, of course, you see more so in the way past and in the future, but deception, a strategy that seeks to deceive, trick, or fool the enemy and create a false perception in a way that can be leveraged for military advantage. Okay, so when you look at the Kingdom of Congo and you see what was done, is they knew that jealousy is a big problem, that we were also a very or we had a fight in us, a fighting spirit. And the concept of the devil is to trick you into believing something that isn't really true. That's why Paola had to warn us a long time ago. He said, be not deceived. Okay, if anybody come teaching you another Jesus, another concept, you're gonna go with that spirit. Okay. By doing so, this allowed Black Bantu people to start to reject the regular ways of the Most High in favor of the enemy, who didn't tell you that they're the enemy at the time. They're coming in. That's why they always said, we forgot that concept, beware of Greeks bearing gifts, because that concept was adopted in the Roman culture to go and infiltrate other groups. They learned that. So this is exactly what we did. We forgot that nZambi said, learn ye not the ways of the heathen, by being distracted through a deception. Okay? What that then allowed is for the delusion that there's nothing wrong with this Christianity. It is the same as what we do, despite the fact that was not completely true. Like I said, the devil the enemy comes to seek, kill, and destroy with kindness, with not coming like a roaring lion right off the bat. This is what people understand. Coming with manipulation, just like what happened in the days with Tata. Satan came in the form of Adama. Oh, I'm your ancestor, Adama. What? He didn't check the spirit. Yaleri, Jerry, okay? Wait a minute. Are you sure? Oh, get into the conversation, right? Enticement, convincing. Oh, yeah, this is the way it goes. Okay? The biggest thing that happened to us is what they call observation. Study. Look at what they do. Look at how they interact. This is what many of the secret society, not it was a secret society, but you look at the how they build spy agencies. It's all about what? I got to get you to slip in and, it's called destabilization. Get people to interact with me and fit in and start doing stuff that they normally would out of the norm, okay? And of course, you had the condemnation at the time of the Spanish Inquisition and all the things that was going on at that time, where the Catholic Church was excommunicating people, heretics, and all this stuff was going on at the time. And so the concept was to convince the Bakongo or the Bantu people, what you're doing is blasphemy, but what we're doing is holy. Once this concept became embedded, bam, Tata nZambi's back was turned. Okay? And he said that, and if you go to the scriptures, this started before that, when he was already frustrated with the fact of that lack of disunity. If we know about people who talked about the truth, that we had people starting arguments about how things should be done. Like a family who's, getting at each other's throats. And the Most High wanted to get rid of the troublemakers because his kingdom needed to be at peace. Okay? But the problem is, why do we always do that? Why do we have to get people involved as troublemakers? Because the devil knows a house divided, like Kongo said, cannot stand. So if I can get Congo's kingdom to divide itself, bam, I got the whole thing to my advantage. The theft. Okay? This was a strategy that was used among the Bantu people, and even when we went to Babylon. Okay? Stop and think about it. We never learned to stop worshiping false idols because the devil would always come with enticement that this is better. Why does it have to be better? Because some of us have that spirit where we were like, oh, I don't have what he has, so I need more. I want to do, and see, this is a concept that even goes into today. Okay? Now, when it came to getting us to be enemies of ourselves, bait and bleed, to induce rival states to engage in a protracted war of attrition against each other so that they bleed each other white, and similar to the concept of divide and conquer. So bait and bleed or divide and conquer is an offensive strategy that was used against the Ba Kongo people and other tribes because, like I said, this is a repetitive thing, okay, for those who are wanting to conquer. All right? And that was the whole concept, is if you can get people to turn on one another, then you're at the advantage by saying something that's not true. That's part of the reasons why the Most High's laws were in place to keep us from this. But see, the problem is, if you start thinking carnally and not spiritually like we really should have been, because we needed that moyen peve mandavelala that many people did have, but some people were lacking, okay? It doesn't allow you to see clearly the initiative, okay? Now, I need to see if I can find the one. Exhaustion. You know, they try to, one of the things they did is they burned down a lot of things. They set stuff on fire. They divided and conquered families. Then they come in there, it's what they call guerrilla war tactics, okay? And of course, some of these things that they were learning is stuff that we talked about, by getting your enemy to talk. Oh, yeah, and trust. Okay, trust is a big key. Okay? What the world historically is not telling you is this was a concept that was being orchestrated through fallen ones. Okay? This is where they have hidden themselves. Like the days of Noka, this is what they did to the seed of Seth. Okay? So how we fell, and now this is the problem we're running into coming back, okay, is first of all to dehumanize and conquer and destroy and create enemies that were not really enemies, okay, through hatred, through the need to one-up somebody. We still have that problem now. To take advantage of the weaknesses that they could see, allow them to exploitation. Okay, it's always been about exploitation. This has been the nature of the world. People act like, oh yeah, well, how can we stop exploitation? Well, if that's the basic, if that's what is the basic fundamental principle of the world itself, you can't stop that. You're being exploited for capital gain in a system of capitalization. That's what the word capitalize means. I'm capitalizing on your weaknesses. I'm capitalizing on your on your abilities to make me money. Capitalization is the concept where I'm using other people's money and other people's skills to benefit me by any means necessary. This is what they hide. Okay? So when you look at the concept, the whole factor of religion had nothing to do with salvation ever. This was the lie. Okay? It was to make it look like we're saving you while we're stealing from you. Okay? You need it, we need you more than you need us. So we're going to take what you got. And the way we take what you got is they knew it came with obedience. What our people got was based off of obedience to the Creator. What they didn't tell their people, the Creator don't care what they do. Okay? Because they're not his. They never were. But this was the concept that started 1900 some years ago. The Gentiles, that's why the Gentiles could never teach the real truth to the world, because they didn't know it. It's not in them. They never had the truth. They always lived by the lies. And that's why it's so hard to convince them otherwise today. You always had the lies. So you can't teach what you never knew. You can only teach it when you learn it, but then that can be twisted if the power was never yours to begin with, okay? So now, let's talk about the last 500 plus years or so. So you take the process of then, and the Most High is behind it, of course, divide and conquer, and then removal. Dispersion, wherever they were, even if we were in one place or another, make them pull apart. This is why they went through the concept of separating families, separating children, making children who that wasn't their mother. Now you're going to go here, putting children to work, all these different stuff, hardening you. Okay. That's what they call hardening, okay? Making you, okay, and then, of course, the next stage of defeating an enemy, favoritism. If you ever look at how governments are formed, it's always about we take one group and put them above the other. And make these people look down upon these people and make these people look up to these people. Okay. When it comes to the strategy of what they did to Bantu people, the Ba Kongo, that was necessary. This troop, okay, we're going to favor this people, and we're going to look down and make you have hatred, jealousy. And if you think I'm lying to you, just go look at that right now. What are we killing each other for? Oh, you got some Nikes, I don't. Oh, you got that nice watch. I don't got that, bro. Where do you get that from? Okay. Carnal. Oh, man, look at the fresh outfit and the gear you got, and I can't. What am I supposed to do to get that? Okay. How did this happen? By making people conditioned to an attitude of desire. You make them narcissistic because it becomes all about what I want, what we want, what you want. Okay? Narcissistic. Narcissism is about myself. Now, in the olden days, this is what they were conditioning people into, because they were breaking people away from the family to the individual on purpose. But as the Tata nZambi says, what happens to mine also happens to yours. And this is the concept that they have forgotten. Okay? Blessings and curses go both ways. Okay? But they didn't really care because their people were just what? Sheep. That was the whole concept. These are just sheep to us. Our job is to make sure that you guys don't ever get back to where you need to be. So the whole system was then implemented against the Bakongo, the Bantu people, the nZambi, to where we always found ourselves denied and having to beg and having to fight for what we should have been as the equality of when they made that constitution, when really we were supposed to be above. And that's why the world was made to be deceived, to destroy your enemy that you hate, because it goes back to Romans 9:13. Okay. Not by works, but by him who calls, she was told, the older to serve the younger. So it is written, Yakubi I love, but Esau I hated. What then shall I, they'll say, is Tata nZambi unjust? Certain not. Okay, so by not letting, but by changing identities or concept of who's who, this is where all this stuff about labeling came into play, okay? How do you destroy your enemy? Give them labels that don't exist. Change names, change languages, change whatever you need in favor of the establishment. Okay? Set it up the way we want it to be set up, so that the world just continues to go in a system. Okay? They really, this concept really came into being when they started to do the concept of the what do you call it? Manufacturing. They said, okay, we're gonna manufacture cars and things. We're gonna manufacture people too. This is what they didn't tell people. Okay, everybody gonna look the same like an assembly line. By using what our enemy thinks is working in their favor, the creator, when he really wasn't involved with any of this. He was like, I'm trying to get you to wake up. Okay? This was all the concept. That's why for those of us who had that connection, it was always about a threat. Because in order to destroy your enemy, anybody that knows the real deal, you got to be dealt with. Nobody can know the real truth, but make you think you have it. Okay? Because that's the whole concept about how Shaitani made this world to be the way it is. That's why when the one pastor was talking about it, he tried to start teaching a certain, they were on Sunday, and he started teaching about the Sabbath and why it needed to change the Saturday. And what was funny about that was he went against a council that had already been formed in the 17 or 1800s, to where these churches would not do that. That's where the Seventh-day Adventists became a problem. But because they still didn't have the correct concept of who they really worshiping, they let it happen. Because like Tata nZambi said, each denomination, people don't even know why there's different denominations of Christianity. That's the big key right there. And I was listening to I was listening to the guy who put it down, was because if you have different perspectives, you can never see that it should be one. Because that would have worked in our favor. Because then we would have seen it. Wait a minute. All these different versions of this belief is Bantu culture. I just got to pick out the right part. That's what Tata nZambi showed me. He's like, hey, every denomination of Christianity has a form of Bantu culture in it. But if it would have been together, you would have caught it. So they had to always make it to where one version was different than the other. Okay? That was done on purpose. This is what the world don't get. Okay? Because the enemy was always the Bakongo, the Bantu people, the nZolele, the nZambi. That's why now when you see the countries of Africa, people don't know that they're related. They see Tanzanians as enemies, as Zulu, Sutu. They see all these, oh, Gabon, you're my enemy. I don't know you. They did that on purpose in order to exploit what was there. They needed the wealth, because then it creates dominance over your enemies. How do you dominate an enemy? Resources, control. How do you get those resources? Destabilization. How do you destabilize? Infiltrate. Then what do? You cause distractions, and then you what? Extract. And then you take out the people who can be the most what? Strongest against you. Okay? That's what Rome did to every civilization. And it was also something that they knew, because this was strategies of war across different cultures. In order to destroy a people, you destroy the culture, or you destroy their way of life. And then you give them yours. And you force them into living that way until it becomes what? Repetition. Okay? So the way, and the biggest challenge, and this is what they did to Ba Kongo people, the Bana Betu. First of all, they got us to hate one another and love them. Okay? Then when they did that, they got us to where we now will do what they want for them, even though if you're being mistreated, with the chance that you'll eventually get higher at some point, okay? And be like what they are, when they know in reality you are the enemy. Shh. Okay? This is the system all across the world, by the way. That's why they really in unison, and you think they're not. You think they're enemies, but they're the same, because they were fighting each other, but they have a common enemy. Who? Tata nZambi. They know that King Congo was the common enemy, but the world can't know the plan was revenge. It's always been about the days of Noah from the beginning. Hey, we got to get that back. That's why Kuso Congo was telling the future when he said, like the days of Noah. What did that mean? Like the days of Noah was confusion of belief systems and understanding and manipulation of knowledge so that people wouldn't know what was going on. And it's like that today, creating distractions so people don't even know, okay? So now what you're experiencing is their preparation. The real war is designed to get rid of what they don't want, so they can establish what they have always wanted, their version of their reality, with the intent to exterminate all unwanted. Now, you do that through deception. And then if anybody questions it, you're no, it's not true. That's false news. That's a lie. No, we wouldn't do that. Okay? Because the whole concept is you're not supposed to know. That's why the Holy Spirit is actually, to have the real Holy Spirit is dangerous to the establishment. So that's why they make people believe, oh yeah, you got the Holy Spirit, Jesus Christ. Oh yeah, thank you. Oh, the Bible is all 100% true. Because if you question and you doubt, then you know that system is false. It's the reverse. They made us doubt, you doubt them, now you see something's wrong. Okay, they don't want that doubt. But see, they always have an answer for the doubt that you have. So why is this happening? Oh, it's because of this and this and this. Oh, why is that happening? These are the same things that happen in the times of antiquity and other countries, nations, who went through the same process, like when Nero burned down Rome and said, oh yeah, it was these people over here. It's the same concept. Oh, I did it, but no, they did it. Oh, go kill them. What? Okay. This is a mindset of control. That's why they don't want people to think for themselves. They created a mindset where they think for you. Okay. And then they engineered a system to keep you from knowing that they're thinking for you. No, you think for yourself. No, you don't. If you did, you know what the George Washington Monument is. You know what that I don't know what they call it down in Brazil and Argentina, all dancing around it. Hey, hey. Okay. If you knew if you thought for yourself, you would understand that the politicians have an agenda that works for the elites. It don't work for you. You're just what? The contributor of the system that needs to continue to function. Like we talked about, an economy does not work without poor people. Somebody has to be poor, somebody has to be rich. And then they use the manipulation of the scriptures to validate that, when that's totally false. All you gotta do is read it right. That's what the whole concept. You've been taught not to read. And then if you did read it, because remember they used to read the Bible to you. When you learned to read it, they read it to you backwards. You learned it backwards. Okay? There was a strategy to this. And stuff was removed that could possibly cause doubt. Oh no, see, this Bible is 100% true. That's the word of God. Boom, this is the word of God. I'm gonna stick to the word of God. Oh yeah, you wrong. If it's not in that Bible, I don't want to hear it. Do you understand that was all part of the plan? If it's not in that Quran, I don't want to hear it. If it's not in that Torah, I don't want to hear it. Manipulation, concepts. Because see, to destroy an enemy is to destroy the mind. How did they do that? Food, chemicals, things that your body is not supposed to ingest, but you're eating it anyway. Okay? There's people out here who have talked about this. You think the rich people eat what you eat? You have been deceived. No way. They know better. You think that these people out here, oh, but they can afford it. Yeah, there's a reason for that, because they know what they did. That's why everything was made an LLC, so they can control where it comes from what. You can't get the healthy stuff because we own the land. You can't get the good stuff, and then you go to fight for it, and now you become the enemy. Oh, that's the enemy. They stole it. Now you go to fight for it back. Now you become the enemy. That's a control factor of the masses. I told people have been deceived. The United States of America, who was the enemy in the 1900s? What country were they fighting? Who was their enemy? Stop and think about that. Spain was insignificant, and they really weren't enemies anyway. It was just part of the game. They knew that. France, same way. Who was the United States enemy? Who was there? If you don't understand, it was so crazy because they put it in the movie, that Kingsman, where the people who fought the war in Europe were related. They were cousins, okay? They were related family members from England and Prussia. They talked about that. And in Germany, oh, this is my cousin from the... You don't even know the game. It's a family feud that you got brought into, that you don't even know the real reason why they're having the family feud. Because the Most High ordained that any of the devil's offspring had to kill each other. It's on purpose. The Most High did that. That was in the book of, they took, no, don't put it in the Bible, then they all know. Okay? You see, now, and this is the problem we're facing coming back. Now, the people don't want to change their way. They like it where they're doing, even though they have to do some of the most abysmal things to keep it. Because you have now been psychological, because it's called psychological warfare for a reason. They made you love poverty that you don't want to give up your treasure. Once now you become rich and super powerful and super wealthy. Now, there were those who did say, I'm going to use my platform to try to speak out. Of course, they realized there were limits to that. You can't always say what you want to say. And they tried, but as you can see, there were those who said, no, I like what I have. I'm going to do what, if I got to turn into a woman to make money, I'll turn into a woman to make money. If I'm going to be a man to make money, I'll make money with a man. Okay, hold on a second. They're coming now. Okay. So now what I'm trying to say is that when you look at the educational process, and it's funny because they just said, I can't remember his name, but it says somebody just filed to disband the Department of Education. Okay. Shh, please. The Department of Education was founded on the concept of indoctrination. This is what they don't want to tell anybody. By allowing you to learn the knowledge they want you to know. That's why, like I said, it's called a curriculum for a reason. We teach you what we want you to know, and then you apply it the way we show you how to apply it. And then, especially from the concept of religion, this is God's will. Is it? Was it his will? Many religious people have come with the concept, oh, this is God's will. How do you know? Is it right? Because when you even look at the meat of the scriptures, the Most High's will is for his people that he loved, and for his people to exist in peace and harmony, sharing what he had to offer them. Not taking advantage of. That's why he even said, don't be charging people interest. Don't charge interest on top of interest when somebody borrows from you. Don't do these. He had all these different things he said. Okay? So now, when we're talking about this whole concept of what took place over the history, it was to make the world see something that really wasn't true. Because the days of Noah were going on. You had the giants, you had all other stuff happening, you had technology, you had to erase it. Okay, you don't remember none of that. This is how it goes. Because you had the days of Noah happening, and we saw it, we knew, okay, we're not supposed to be doing none of this stuff with these people. We're supposed to be our own way. But then because we couldn't get away from it, that's when they took us down the rabbit hole. You're not in the days of Noah. You're going to be, oh, this is the way the world's supposed to be. Yeah, your society's supposed to be a community. We're working for your community, having you love your neighborhood, building a community, the community that's designed by the people who run it to destroy you. But you must love this community, love your neighbor, love your friends and family, do righteous, do everything for the betterment of your community when the people who run your community are against you. Shh. Because they knew that the enemy was within. So this is where they took the Bantu people, especially Black people now, as you can see, down the rabbit hole with music, alcohol, drugs, okay? And then for the good part, okay, we're going to use you as an athlete, make us money, use you in the educational field, put you in all type of research, okay? That's why they patent stuff to take from us. Oh yeah, you come work for this company, you raise up our company, you're part of our company, but do you really get the share of what you produce? No, it's just a trick. They make the money, you reap the reward. Okay, we give you a little plaque. Oh, you invented this. Thank you. But then who gets paid? That's what Hosea chapter 2 is saying when he says you will try to capture your lovers, but you'll never catch them. Okay? Oh yeah, you can become presidents of the university, you can do all these different things, but really, you're still under the guise of a plantational system in secret. Because now everybody's on the plantation. They're just paying you a little bit, but who really benefits the most? They hate the Most High, and they hate his people, and they hate all their enemies, and they benefit. Okay? That's why control plays the biggest factor. Okay? Okay? I'm not going to do it too much longer, but what I'm trying to tell you is, so now it goes into what it says in Matthew 24. Okay? This is why you're going to be calling on people's names they can't really do what you think that they're convinced that they do. They sing every day. They whipped it into us. Now you're doing it. Now you can't convince people that they're wrong because they've already conditioned it. Okay. Therefore, you also ready for such an hour as the Bana Moon to cometh. Who then is faithful and wise servant whom his Mfumu has made ruler over his household and given them meat in due season? So Tata nZambi made the Bana Congo what? The rulers while he was gone. What did we do? We had those that tried to do the right thing, but then many people did this. And this is what the other people don't understand. They had no part in this. This was for Bantu people, the Bana Congo, the Bana nZambi. This is what we were kept saying to ourselves. Our master is delayed. Okay? But if the evil servant shall say, so we had evil people in their hearts saying, Congo gone. Okay, we're gonna do it our way. And shall smite his fellow servants and eat and drink with the drunkard. So we went carnal while the other nations were doing some of the stuff the same way. And the informer shall come in the day to look at not for him. That's why it was a shock for many Bantu people when Simon Kimbangu and Toko showed up, saying, hey, you don't even know what's going on over here. They're playing you. Now it's going to be an even bigger shock because now the rest of the world is catching on. What? This is what they have us doing to each other? And the people don't see it, okay? That's why they want us involved in the carnal life of every aspect, even though it may look good. Oh yeah, we're doing good things over here. We're being nice to people, which is not a problem. But again, you're still not doing the Most High's will. You're doing what they want you to believe is the Most High's will. And that's where it goes against the commandments already. Hey, you don't do what you want to do. You do what I say. But you've been convinced in the trick and said, well, God said it's his will. God said do this. God is not even his name. Allah said, and then when they use the correct name, they're in the wrong spirit. Because you got to, like I said, it's about the spirit. So Yahweh Congo, Yahweh Tata nZambi, he says, but what spirit are you in? You can say the right names and still be in the wrong spirit. And that's what Tata nZambi is saying. In spirit and in truth, you must be in the right spirit to be with me. The Creator says you must be in the right spirit and walking in the proper way. Even myself, I have fallen more than I would like to. But I know that a lot of this is also connected to our own people seeking my destruction and others. Because like Tata nZambi was saying, you come, I was doing my vision and said, the master's house my parents' house was being infested with uninvited guests. It's like I had inherited something. It's like I had an inheritance, and the inheritance was being polluted by visitors, by children. And there were those who said who had heard what I say, and there were those who did not. But then they were let in by someone who was weak. Okay. And then the people who were with them, they couldn't even handle the kids. And then people are called to say, hey, they're stealing and everything. Well, what do you want us to do about it? You let them in. Okay. You got to wait till they get up out of there and they die down and they leave. And then they said, we can handle it from there. Just like when you have rioters and looters. Okay, now we're going to go back and look at the film and see who did something, who's in trouble. Okay. Tata nZambi is going to do the exact same thing when it comes to this earth. He's going to look at, he's going to get rid of all the stuff he don't want, what they're saying. And then he's going to look at, now who of my people was doing the work? And then who was doing the smiting of their brother? That's why Tata nZambi is saying in this, and Kusu Kongo is acknowledging this. If you were building the kingdom Most High's way and what he wanted us to do, to learn the Bana Betu Ba Kongo, learn the ways of the Most High and encourage others to do so, then you are favored. But if you're trying to take down the Most High's house under the guise of building, you got a major problem on your hands. Because your initiative is, if I'm putting 3 or 4 bricks on a house, and no, I'm not, I'm not what you think I am. If I'm building something, and then the people who you think they are, who are them, come and say, "Oh, we're gonna sneak over here and take those bricks away, and make these people think that we helped you." He sees that. Hey, don't think I didn't catch that. This person is trying to do this, and then you did that. And now the house is coming back down. Okay, and the kingdom's going the wrong direction. And this is the concept that they're trying to do when they're talking about recolonizing the land and us. No, you cannot let the enemy get the upper hand on us. We must make sure that they never get the upper hand on us. So use our infiltrators that we have already conditioned them to do this. To keep that enemy, which is what I talk about, infiltration. Use the spies, use the whatever needs to be done to see what's going on so that will not succeed. And then see, the problem is they think that those spies are going to be there forever, and that is the next step. Congo is coming to clean house. These snakes and these people doing this and doing some wicked things to my people, you're out of here. This is the phase this is the phase of the world we're at now. Congo is saying, I'm tired of the snakes. They actually showed this house that people were living in. They pulled out one snake. All the other snakes came with it. They all got exposed. That's the concept. You thought you just had one snake, and then the rest of them came down. He said, oh yeah, we're going to start collecting and taking care of and dealing away with, okay, the infiltrators, the people who are working against me, but acting like they're working for me. It's that time. It's a purge, okay? So now the world has started to experience this, but they don't even know what's going on. Oh, this is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. They're freaking out because they're the heathen. They don't know what's going on. We who know is like, hey, it's your time. But we must at the same time know they coming for the enemy. But the nZambi says, hey, I know what they're going to do because I already seen it. So it's time for us to understand, for us to continue to move forward, recognize and be aware who is building our house and who's tearing it down. Okay. All right, family. Zola Quingy and Sambalolo, where's the Yabi Congo Kutwala? And continue to work hard in the Most High's vineyard and do your best to fight because right now, the next phase of what they're trying to do to us now who are in this awakening, they're trying to tear us down. They want to do that. And they're using whatever means they can without exposing it. All right? Zola Quingy Sambalolo. Ingita. Mbote Sabona de Malang. Where's the Yabi Congo Kutwala? Wait, I'm not done yet. It's still